everybody. Thanks so much, Ukie, for inviting me. I'm Julia Melvin. I'm HR Projects Manager at Ubisoft Reflections and Ubisoft Leamington Studios. I'm the lead of the Wellbeing program in these two studios. I'm also a certified mental health first aid instructor with MHFA England. Mental health and well-being is really important to me personally. It's something I think about every day in my own life as a chronically ill person, so it's a real privilege to be able to work on this project because it's something I'm really passionate about. Our well-being project in these two UK studios began in 2017. We first put together a focus group called Project Brave. We asked our team to share some feedback about how we could better support them, and thanks to their involvement, we created a strategy and an action plan emerged from those discussions, and it's really grown each year, and it's really shaped the culture in our studios as well. I think, sorry, I lost my notes here. I think creating a culture of well-being means having an environment where people can express empathy, they care about each other, support each other, and they can lift each other up. And I think it's something that everybody needs now more than ever, really. The strategy and initiatives I'm going to describe here are ones that we carried out in our two studios in Newcastle and Leamington Spa, unless I sort of otherwise note that as a global Ubisoft objective, but these were, mainly in our two sites. So just looking at the picture of well-being in our industry, I think probably most of you have seen these statistics from the Ukie Games Industry Census, where 18% of respondents to the survey said that they have a physical health condition, compared to around 11% in the UK working age population, and 38% of developers who responded reported that they experience anxiety or depression or both, which is considerably above the national average of 17% in the UK working age population. It's really clear that we need to make a change in the industry. Making games should be fun, it should be rewarding, and in turn, if people are having fun and enjoying what they're doing, then that's going to come through in the games that we're making. We're going to be able to bring our most creative selves to these projects. But it's really hard to access creative and innovative thinking if you're struggling mentally, physically, and emotionally, so well-being really has to be a priority for the games industry in order for us to be able to do what we do best. So after meeting with our focus group, Project Brave, in 2017, we worked together to create this 4-pillar strategy based on safety, awareness, prevention, and support. Safety is about having a safe and healthy working environment where we can thrive. We need an inclusive and supportive environment to feel safe. We also need to create a safe to speak up culture where people feel it's safe to talk about their well-being. They're not going to face stigma or be held back in their career. They're going to get the support that they need. Awareness is all about raising awareness of overall health and well-being and self-care, which is really important, but we also need to raise awareness and reduce stigma around poor mental health, and make sure that everybody can spot the signs and symptoms of poor mental health in themselves and others. And although we can't prevent every health issue, there is a lot we can do to decrease work-related stress, which we know can contribute to both mental and physical health problems. We can also aid prevention by sharing resources and information, promoting good self-care and community care. In spite of all of our best efforts in those other areas, every one of us needs support sometimes, so ensuring that support is available to everyone and it's accessible and customizable to meet their needs is really important. The sooner we can provide support to someone who's struggling, the better, so that anybody who is struggling can hopefully recover more quickly and avoid major or long-term impacts to their health and well-being. We really want to support people because that's just the right thing to do. We should all have support when we need it, but it's really important to invest in well-being for business reasons too. If people are supported sooner and they're able to avoid longer-term absences, then that means a smoother production as well. If people aren't able to access the support that they need, they might become overwhelmed, need more time off, experience burnout, or just leave altogether, and that really affects the morale and the well-being of the rest of the team, and that's going to impact the production as well. So it's really important for every games industry employer to really understand how important it is to invest in well-being for the business as well. And studies show that for every pound spent on supporting people's mental health, employers get back £5 in their investment and reduce presenteeism, absenteeism, and staff turnover. So creating a safe and inclusive place to work, an environment where people feel it's safe to talk about their mental health and well-being, is the first priority. Safety has to be the foundation of an effective well-being program. Globally, Ubisoft has been working hard to create safe and inclusive workplaces over the past few years. We've definitely seen some challenges along with other industry employers, so it's something that we all need to keep working hard on to make sure that our workplaces are safe spaces that are free of harassment, where people feel safe and included. There's still a lot of work to be done on this in this area across the industry. Ubisoft set up several avenues of confidential reporting, making sure that objective third parties can investigate any issues that arise through those channels. All of our team members also attended anti-harassment training. We definitely welcome feedback and questions in open forums, but we also launched a work in confidence tool locally where people can ask anonymous questions or give feedback to the leadership team, which I think is going really well. Ubisoft also launched a range of global and local employee resource groups for neurodiversity, disability and chronic illness, BAME communities, gender minorities, and LGBTQ+ communities. These groups create safe spaces to share and provide peer support, as well as raising awareness of collective issues where that's needed. But safety is also about making sure people feel it's safe to talk about their mental health and well-being. So in our UK studios, we revised our sickness absence policy to specifically note that time off for mental health reasons is going to be, it's going to be supported, and it'll be considered the same as time off for physical health reasons. There's no reason why that should be treated differently. And that really helps to reduce the shame and stigma around poor mental health. It shows that, disclosure will be welcomed and met with support. It's okay if people don't want to disclose any health conditions at work, but making sure they feel safe to do that means that they might be more likely to reach out for support when they need it. We also have a dedicated health and well-being policy, which outlines our commitments to well-being and the actions we're going to take to make sure mental health and well-being is a priority in our studios. We need to raise awareness of mental health and break down the stigma to build on the foundation of safety. With awareness, people can begin to reshape their views about mental health and well-being and access greater levels of empathy and self-awareness. Awareness training is really important, but you have to keep building on it in order for it to be effective. It needs to be repeated, refreshed, and expanded in order to become more embedded in our behaviors. It's really easy to forget what we've learned. We rolled out awareness training in 2019, but we did a refresh on it in 2021, and we found that manager confidence is really improving every year as we keep building on that foundation of awareness. We've also created and delivered an additional session for managers with practical advice on, carrying out reasonable adjustments, managing returns to work, and other types of preventative measures to make sure that they feel confident in supporting their team's well-being. We offer a range of virtual well-being courses on many different topics, as well as having some on-site social events. Today's Time to Talk Day, so we had a gaming station set up and cupcakes brought in. It was really nice bringing everybody together. We've also hosted mental health panels where some of our team members shared their lived experiences with OCD, eating disorders, and depression with a Q&A to encourage other people to, speak up and access support when they need it. We've also offered individual one-to-one sessions for nutrition consultations, financial advice, well-being coaching, on-site physical health checkpoint sessions, massages, and flu jabs. So quite a variety of different events that we've been running. Ubisoft's now also a Safe in Our World partner. Safe in Our World's a mental health charity working to raise awareness of mental health in the games industry, providing mental health resources for players and developers, encouraging all industry employers worldwide to join their Level Up Mental Health campaign. Joining the campaign means making a commitment to improve mental health for your developers and also use your platform to raise awareness of mental health. So if you haven't already, please do join. You get access to free mental health training resources and toolkits to get you started. So definitely check that out. We have to go deeper than this, really, to get to the root causes of poor well-being at work. While not every mental or physical health issue is down to work-related causes, we do know that work-related stress can negatively impact well-being. So we need to do whatever we can to mitigate those risks and support well-being in everything that we do. Hello. So the number one priority for prevention is work-life balance. In an ideal world, we can make games without ever needing to work overtime to do it. Hopefully we don't, but if that's not possible for some reason, then it's important to make sure that any periods of overtime are kept to a minimum and there's enough rest and recovery time afterwards to offset the impact of that and avoid burnout. We've been reviewing policies like flexible working and flexi time, trying to make those as flexible as possible so short-term pressures can be offset as quickly as possible. You know, we can't live to work. We all need time to rest and recover, so that's really important for well-being. Duh. My scroll's not working. Sorry. I'm a notes person. I need my notes. We also have a leadership program to make sure that managers are able to develop and improve their management and leadership skills. We encourage all of our managers to carry out stress risk assessments, which is really important. When you think about the elements of stress, like maybe working across different time zones, you know, if you're able to think about that and how that might affect someone, then you can work on a plan to offset that and make sure that you're addressing that before it becomes an issue. So stress risk assessments are really important. We also encourage people to do wellness action plans with their manager. It's more of an individual plan. You can find them on Mind website, but it's basically one that you can work together to determine what kind of support you might need and what your individual stress triggers might be. We keep a lot of books, resources, and other types of information available, but you have to keep, you know, directing people back to it because they will forget that it's there. So it's really important to find different ways to promote it. We also run a staff-guided social club, so anybody can sort of suggest an idea of an event that they might like to do, and then that person will take charge and organize that event. So we've done lots of different things, you know, everything from rally car driving to sushi making, so, you know, miniature painting, board game nights, all sorts of things. So there's really something for everybody there. Oop, pardon me. So everyone should have access to high quality support in a way that suits their needs, and we put several things in place to make sure that the support is accessible and available. Although we do work hard to create a culture of support, it's really important to realize that not everyone's going to feel comfortable reaching out to HR or their manager to talk about how they're feeling. So we have a diverse group of 38 Wellbeing champions who are volunteers from our studios representing all levels of seniority and all job families. They've all taken part in a formal recruitment process and received mental health first aid training. Some of our Wellbeing champions have also become workplace sleep ambassadors through training by the Sleep Charity to assist people with sleep issues. We also ran a neurodiversity and mental health session for our Wellbeing champions to learn how to apply the mental health first aid model in the context of neurodiversity to make sure everyone can get the support they need. Making sure there are processes in place to recruit, onboard, and develop the skills of people providing support is really important, so that they're prepared to talk to people about a range of sensitive topics and they understand how to protect their boundaries for themselves and others. We definitely want to keep expanding on that with further training, so we're running some loss and bereavement training soon and some other different types of training to ensure that they keep building on their skills. When you do set up a team of people to support other people, it's really important to make sure they have support in place for themselves as well. So we have a team chat, monthly meetings, a buddy system where every Wellbeing champion has a designated buddy, and they all have access to additional resources and support. We had a team building event for our Wellbeing champions last year with like some bowling and a workshop and meal out, which was really great just to increase the engagement of the team and show that we appreciate them. Our Wellbeing champions often share lived experience about, you know, their own mental health. They write blogs about self-care and share resources with the team. So it's been really great to see how much engagement our Wellbeing program has increased since launching the team. When moving to a hybrid working model, we knew our team members needed access to high quality support from anywhere. Employee assistance programs can be helpful sometimes, but the quality of the services provided can vary. There's also a limit on the number of sessions that each user can take, so that means somebody might lose access to therapy when they still really need the support. So we implemented Plum Health in the UK studios, where our team members can book unlimited therapy sessions at a rate of 4 per month, so they can just go weekly for as long as they need. The therapy is available in 32 languages. They can also request a therapist of a particular ethnicity or background, someone of the LGBTQ plus community, or someone who specializes in a particular topic. So that way they can find a therapist who they feel is right for them. There's also a chat therapy option, which is really popular. There's self-guided, courses on there and a meditation library, and that's all available on an app. There's also family support, so people can go on and, their family members can use the learning courses and the meditations and get access to therapy as well with a discount. We have a well-being allowance. It can be used in a variety of different ways. It's really important to recognize that not everyone can go to the gym. We all have different abilities and lifestyles, and having a benefit in place that's more customizable than, a sort of gym membership benefit is a really great way to show that well-being is for everyone, including people with disabilities and short and long-term health conditions. In addition to that, we have a really comprehensive private medical insurance to supplement healthcare options and make sure that everyone can get the support they need. It has access to a virtual GP, vision and dental coverage, physiotherapy, and mental health treatment as well. So just looking at some of the outcomes since we've been launching this program. We're not doing it for awards and recognition. We're doing it because we enjoy it and it's the right thing to do, but highlighting our program externally by taking part in these types of initiatives shows that well-being is really important in our industry, and games companies can and do invest in well-being and mental health. Game development can be a really fun and rewarding career that actually supports good work-life balance and well-being. So I think it's great to show that. I'm really proud to say that our Wellbeing program achieved a Gold Award in the Mind Workplace Wellbeing Index in 2020, a REBA Award for Best New Wellbeing Strategy in 2020. We also were shortlisted at the CIPD People Management Awards in 2022. So it's been a great achievement to have our Wellbeing program recognized externally and be promoted as such a great place to work. The Mind survey is particularly good if you can take part in that, because you get feedback from your team as well as from Mind. So we definitely use that feedback to shape our program over the last few years, so we can just keep improving. After implementing our Wellbeing Champions team in 2021, engagement with our Wellbeing events improved from 12% to 35%. The amount of well-being content we were able to share increased by 43%. And because of all those different voices promoting well-being, the engagement with that content actually increased by 243%, which was quite a lot. When you've got a diverse group of voices speaking up, it really helps the engagement and reinforces the message that well-being is important and everybody feels they can get involved. Our mental health absence rate improved by 50% in 2018 after launching the project. It stayed at that same level for 2 years after that. It did increase during the COVID-19 pandemic. I think that was to be expected, but it has decreased again from since in the last fiscal year from 0.35% to 0.30%. We definitely encourage time off for mental health reasons when people need that. So it's not about discouraging people to take time off for mental health reasons. It's more about looking at that long-term mental health related absence. And if you're able to support people and they're able to come back to work and avoid those longer setbacks on their recovery journey, then you're going to reduce the amount of mental health related absence for them and for the company, which is a really good result to see and something good to measure. That's it for me. Thanks, everybody.
I've been in the games industry now for about 22 years, and I've definitely noticed people's general resilience to hard work increase definitely every year in general. But obviously the one thing that hasn't changed is making games is hard. It's always going to be hard, and always trying to do something new and exciting. And a lot of the tasks are how long is a piece of string. It's like making a masterpiece. And even when you get into a situation like, say, Sports Interactive, where they're iterating on the same thing, their job may be slightly easier in what they do, but then they have the added time pressure of a yearly release. So even when what you're doing is an iterative thing, it's still hard because you're under pressure all the time. So I guess you know, like when people come into the industry, I'm guessing, just want to ask a question about what Ubisoft would do. Like when you've got new people coming in who've never been there before, you know, you can support them and deal with reactive situations when people are having trouble and have all of the support there. But is there anything you think we can do proactively, so actually to induct people into this when they start working with the games industry, to spend a lot of time to let them know, you know, what can happen, what will happen in the games industry, and make them feel more prepared for when times ultimately, you know, when work ultimately gets a bit harder.
Yeah, I think, I mean, there's always going to be a lot of change happening. You know, some things happen, you know, projects are, you know, experience a lot of changes sometimes in direction of the project, or, you know, maybe some other changes that people need to adjust to. And, you know, there's a lot of, I do realize there's a lot of short-term pressure, you know, especially around deadlines and things like that. And I think, yeah, when people are new to the industry and they're just, you know, learning about that, I think it's just important that, you know, they feel supported. They have a good, you know, good peer support, you know, mentorship, people to guide them and, you know, talk to them about that. You know, it's if you've been in the industry a long time, then you remember like the dark days, you know, and it's not about, you know, we want to move away from that. So it's not about sort of like, oh, back in my day we were working all night, you know, to release this game. Like, you know, it's those kinds of stories that, you know, I think are difficult to hear, you know, for people, and they think, gosh, what have I made the right choice being here, you know, and it makes it harder to, you know, really increase diversity and, you know, inclusion as well, because people, you know, maybe feel like, you know, that's not something they're prepared to do, so they might avoid the industry altogether. So we've got to kind of move away from that. But there are a lot of pressures and short-term, you know, difficulties, and, you know, that people need to adjust to. And I think, you know, it's all about building resilience. You know, people have different sizes of stress containers, you know, and we've got to be able to kind of expand that container, you know, sometimes, but recognize when, you know, when their stress container's full, that, you know, adding in more isn't going to be any help to anyone. You know, if they go off sick, then the whole team is going to struggle, you know, with that. So you've got to, everybody has to chip in really and support each other. It's, you know, I know it's not always an easy process when you're making games, but, you know, I think it, you know, it's a creative environment, and it can be really exciting as well. So it's just about, you know, trying to find the right momentum that kind of suits the team.
Do you think there's any value though in just like letting people know what can happen before it happens, so that it's not a shock? Like, I always knew that there was a chance I was going to get laid off, and it took me, you know, 5 years for a company to get shut down, but it was obvious because you used to see that happening. But I guess, do you think there's any value of like letting people, like training them around milestones, and when milestones are late, and, you know, what it's like at a release, so that they know about it well in advance of it actually happening, so it's not a shock to them?
That's really interesting. Yeah, it's difficult. I think you never know what's going to happen, do you? You know, and I think it could happen anywhere, couldn't it? Outside the games industry as well, you know, that you're in a job and then things don't work out, you get laid off or something happens, you know. So I think it's something that anybody who's kind of new in their career, I guess, has to come to terms with the what ifs and, you know, what the possibilities might be like. But again, I think it's about having, you know, mentors, you know, managers, people who are more experienced to kind of, you know, guide you through that. And, you know, especially if those changes do start to occur, you know, to say, I've been through this before, you know, I was also on a project that was canceled once or delayed, and this is what happened. And, you know, we support each other and, you know, just work through it. And hopefully there's some good well-being support in place too, to kind of manage the anxiety around those changes that might be taking place. I hope that helps.